Indy 500 Films presents The Legends of the Brickyard.
You know, they say the Indianapolis 500 is a family affair, not just for the spectators, but for the competitors now as well. And in no year was that more evident than 1982. Hi, everyone. I'm Larry Newberg.
And I'm Bob Jenkins. 5 sets of brothers made the field in '82, including the first trio of siblings. Interestingly enough, one of each set would crash. One each of 4 sets would finish in the top 6, and only one set would fail to finish.
But before anyone could finish, they had to start, and that this year proved to be rather difficult. But no one can dispute the exciting finish of the 1982 Indianapolis 500.
In a few minutes, it will be 5 a.m., May 30th, 1982. It's quiet here on the main straightaway of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So quiet, it is hard to believe that outside, thousands upon thousands of cars and people, backed up for miles in every direction, are waiting for the gates to open. They're coming to witness the 66th annual 500-mile race, a speed classic described as the greatest spectacle in racing. And why do they come here? What is the great magnetic attraction? Well, ask any 10 people, and you'll probably get 10 different answers. For some, it may be the pageantry and the beauty of the pre-race. For others, it is the roar of 33 engines capable of propelling each speed creation at well over 200 miles an hour. Some may understand the danger aspect with which a modern charioteer plies his profession. A pit stop can be a study in coordination. At this moment, the crew can win or lose the race for the driver, no matter how expert he is. But above all, there is the thrill of watching wheel-to-wheel competition. And the finish, the closest in 500 history. Gordon Johncock and his competitor, Rick Mears, created a legend on this Memorial Day. Each of their contemporaries, like Mario Andretti, has achieved some legendary accomplishment which sets them apart. No driver in Speedway history has driven 25 races, let alone 25 consecutive races. This quarter century of competition for A.J. Foyt has produced 4 unprecedented wins, 2 seconds, 3 third-place finishes, and he has won the national championship 7 times.
Well, actually, you know, my first year in 1958 is like any other race. You're actually thrilled to be here, and especially after you pass your rookie's test. It's just a great, great thrill. And then after you pass your rookie test and be qualified for the starting field was just really my goal in life, is just naturally qualifying, being here for the greatest race in the world. In 1958, you know, the race started, and they tell you, you know, the draft of the cars can pull you down the back straightaway and things like that real fast. But the biggest thing happening, you know, it had a 16-car pile up on the back straightaway where a lot of us spun. But later on that day, going in number 1 corner, I had a water hose come loose, and I took another spin. I was fortunate enough not to hit the wall. I really didn't know if I'd ever come back to Indianapolis. And Al Dean, my owner, he patted me on the back, and he said, AJ, there'll be other races and another day. And my chief mechanic, Clint Bronner, also said the same thing. So I think with them giving me the great break in automobile racing and enthusiasm that I had about automobile racing is what's made me come back and stay here for 25 years.
When will he retire? Well, that will be when he no longer has the desire to win. Starting out in early May, the problems of shaking down a new car are much the same as those experienced in each preceding year, except that this year we're going a little faster. The car is a little safer. but the hand holding the wheel is still subject to the same old errors. May 15th, the best drivers and cars are ready to take their chance at winning the preferential pole starting position. Kevin Kogan, newest member of the Penske racing team, sets a new track record, 204.082 miles an hour. But then his teammate, Rick Mears, turns 4 fast laps, all but one a track record, an average of 207.004, which puts the pole position virtually out of reach for his competitors. Roger Mears has qualified, and his wife, Carol, has scrambled eggs on her hat. Roger has none. Easy to tell who's the boss in this family. Gordon Johncock of Coldwater, Michigan, the 1973 winner, posts 4 laps at well over the 200-mile-an-hour mark. His average is 201.884, good for the middle of the second starting row. Johnny Rutherford, Fort Worth, Texas, 197.066. Pancho Carter logs 198.95. Mario Andretti over the 200-mile-an-hour mark, 203.172. Ron McQueenie takes a Speedway record picture for every qualifier. This time it's Tom Sneva, 201.027. 47-year-old men aren't really supposed to drive over 200 miles an hour, but A.J. Foyt does, 203.332 to be exact, and that puts him on the outside of the front row. Jose Garza finally makes the field on his 3rd attempt. Qualifying draws to a close. Anxious hopefuls take to the track to see if they can coax just enough speed to make the field. Steve Chassis damages his chassis. There are the Whittington brothers, 3 of them. They have 3 yellow cars. All 3 are qualified, and a new legend has been created.
While there have been numerous sets of brothers to run at Indianapolis, the Whittingtons set history by putting 3 brothers in the same race. 2 qualified at over 200 miles an hour. The oldest finished in the top 10, and the youngest in his only 500 start to date never completed a lap.
Well, this is where we came in. The field has been selected. The final preparations have been made, and now it's time to run the 66th annual Indianapolis 500. There's Freddie Agabation in his 1952 Cummins diesel. Sam Hanks drives his George Sally winning creation from 1957. And in 1952, Troy Ruttman, driving for J.C. Agajanian, was the youngest driver in history to win. 1962 winner Roger Ward used to race against a rookie named Rutherford. The field comes down to take the green flag, but something's wrong. The yellow flag is out, and there's pandemonium at the starting line. Kevin Cogan suddenly veered to his right, hitting Foyt, then shot back across the track into the wall where Andretti T-boned him. Roger Mears, trying to avoid the mess, is run over the top by Dale Whittington. Altogether, 5 cars are damaged. 4 will be unable to continue.
Number 4, Kevin Cogan involved. Number 4, Kevin Cogan involved. Also,
the race is stopped as emergency crews begin the task of cleaning up a gigantic mess. And Kevin Cogan tries to explain to Andretti just what happened.
Roger Mears is involved in car number 31. Dale Whittington.
Roger Mears has a few salty comments about the situation. Mr. Foyt and Mr. Andretti discuss the matter. Mr. Cogan's name is mentioned frequently.
The race is over.
Then a cheer goes up. Foyt's crew have made the repairs. AJ will drive in his 25th race after all.
1982, only the 3rd time in history that less than a full field took the green flag because of an aborted start. The last time that had occurred was in 1970 when the late Jim Malloy crashed in turn 4 on the pace lap.
The front row has only 2 cars. Similar gaps exist in the pack, where damaged cars have dropped out. Oseli Garza slows down. His engine has quit. A month of planning for just 1 lap in the race. It's Foyt, Mears, John Cox, Sneva, and Don Whittington. Foyt moves away from the field, but Mears and Johncock keep him in sight. Foyt continues to dominate the race for 22 laps, then heads into the pits for service. The lead passes from Foyt to Johncock, to Don Whittington, to Danny Ongayas, back to Foyt, and then to Rick Mears. On the main straightaway, it's Tony Bentonhausen spinning and stopping in front of the pits on lap 40. The race is slowed. Johncock makes a fast pit stop, then starts back to the race. Mears is out just ahead of him and claims the front place. When the green flag comes out, Tom Sneva is in front. turn two. It's Danny Angaya spinning into the inside. Jerry Sneva, Tom's younger brother, is involved and is also out of the race. Rick Mears stops for service. So does Gordon Johncock. It's Mears, Sneva, Johncock, and Pancho Carter in the 80th lap, the 90th lap, and then AJ comes in. He's got transmission troubles and can only run in third gear.
This way. Boyd is preparing to get out of the cockpit. Well, how about a hand for the man who set all sorts of new track records here today, celebrating his 25th year.
Mr. Foyt is annoyed. He would like to have won this one, but it's not to be.
Now Boyd's going to work on it himself.
Even gentle persuasion with a hammer doesn't help. Now the race has settled down to a duel between Rick Mears and Gordon Johncock. Johnny Parsons spins. Something broke in the rear end of his car. Mears continues to run first. Parsons takes a new perspective on his car. Green again, but not for long. Rookie Danny Sullivan crashes at the start of the main straightaway. He's okay, but the race is slowed for 5 laps. Al Unser is running 5th. Rutherford is 6th. And Johncock and Mears are at it again. Johncock keeps a slim lead. Pancho Carter makes a pit stop, but gets away slowly. His lower gears are gone. Only high speed remains. He's still in 4th place. In the 184th lap, Mears loses precious seconds as he taps a slower car driven by Herm Johnson. Tom Sneva comes in at the same time. Mears' pit stop time is 18.4 seconds. He takes on a full fuel load, more than is needed to go the distance. Two laps later, Johncock comes in. His pit stop is 13 seconds, taking on just enough fuel to travel the last 14 laps.
Many people may forget that Danny Sullivan's initial drive here ended against the concrete, but it's highly unlikely that anyone will forget his spin in later years that resulted in one of the most dramatic victories in the Speedway's history.
Johncock drives a careful and well-paced race. Mears is down 11 seconds and begins his charge. He picks up a second a lap. 197 laps complete, only 3 to go. Both drivers are creating a new legend by racing at speeds challenging 200 miles an hour. Mears closes to within inches of Johncock. There's the white flag. It's unbelievable. So close together, it looked like a dead heat. Mears tries. Oh, how he tries. But this 500 belongs to Gordon Johncock. And there it is, the closest finish in Speedway history. Just a car length and a few feet. A legend is born. Gordy comes in. This was not like his rain-shortened 1973 win. This one, he won going flat out. Rick Mears comes in. Wife Dina welcomes him. He's driven his 500 miles. He's earned a day's pay, $215,819 for second place. Pancho Carter, third, wins $103,559. Tom Sneva, $88,309. Don Whittington, $57,159. Johnny Rutherford, $50,329. And Gordon Johncock, his second win, $290,609.
It's no wonder those two fought so hard to win. The total purse was more than $2 million for the first time in Speedway history.
And of the brothers battling it out for their share of the $2 million, only the Bettenhausens, Gary and Tony, each failed to finish. Meanwhile, two of the men involved in that pre-race accident, Roger Mears and Dale Whittington, watched as their respective brothers, Rick and Don, went on to finish in the top 6. Also in 1982, Gordon Smiley was the first driver to die at Indianapolis since 1973. He was killed while warming up for a qualification attempt. And sadly, Jim Hickman, who won Rookie of the Year that year with his 7th place finish, was also killed just 2 months later while practicing at Milwaukee. I'm Larry Nuber.
And I'm Bob Jenkins, and so we wrap up the closest finish of the 500 with another chapter in the legends of the Brickyard.